Dan Kennedy taught it. The vast majority of business owners right now are sitting around in meetings trying to figure out how they can sell at lower prices to their customers. They're looking at their economics, they're looking at their pricing, they're trying to figure out where they can cut costs, where they can shave, where they can save money on their advertising, where they can create a sales page that will convert better so that they can cut the cost of their ads, cut the cost of their products, and sell at lower price. The smart business owners are in meetings right now deciding how they can sell at a higher price. How can you sell at something 10 times your front end price? How can you sell something 20 that front end price? What could you create? What could you offer? What could you go get? What could you license? What could you private label that you could sell at 5, 10, 20 times what your customers are already buying? Those discussions are where the riches are.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And so few people think along these lines. They just stay boxed in their thinking. So I would invite anyone who, is listening to this and has their own business, I would really invite you to really sit down and think, what could I sell for $5,000, $10,000, 15, 20,000? You should even play around with selling $100,000 solution there. There are always people that have money and appreciate the need to invest that money in better solutions or more impressive solutions. And as you just said there, Rob, a lot of the times this line of thinking can pivot your business into something that is infinitely more profitable for you than you ever imagined. And that has been the case time and time and time again for guys that have, decided to think along these lines. So I love that story of the generator becoming the primary business. It was a back end offer and just became the primary business from that point forward. I love it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, when my wife and I got married, we had a ton of credit card debt that we had each accumulated and brought into the marriage. And we owed more, like 3 times more, and credit card debt than we made in a year. And so that caused a lot of stress. And I picked up the book by Dale Carnegie, How to Stop Worrying and Start Living. And in that book, it has an exercise. And it says, well, if you need $100,000, well, then why don't you see what could you offer to 100 or 1,000
Love it.
people that you could charge $100 for? And what could you sell for $1,000 that you could find 100 people to buy? And what you sell for $10,000, you could find 10 people to buy. And what could you sell for $25,000 that 4 people could buy? So even
That's awesome.
back then, that exercise of knowing that the numbers of customers change, but the price can increase, and pushing to do that exercise within your customers. If you've got 3,000 people on your email list, most people are thinking about, what could I sell them for the same price that I sold them the first time? And that's fine. I'm not suggesting that you do you not do that. But what could you sell at twice the price that half the list would buy? What can you sell at 10 times the price that only 10% of the list would buy? And having those thoughts too absolutely changes the game, because what you'll find and discover is that you have a pocket of much more responsive customers that are actually much more fun to work with, that are much more engaging, and that could really make your life more fulfilling if only you thought to offer them a product at much higher the price. And this is a mental obstacle that I have encountered hundreds of times over the last 8 years that I've been working with clients.